Lovely. Thanks, Narelle and Bill. Thanks, Sarah. All right, welcome everyone to today's call. I'm really excited and honoured to have Bill Stathan on the call with us today. I met Bill in 2001, which is actually the very year we first became certified organic. That we launched our first certified organic products, which were the world's first back then. And Bill and I were speaking together. We did a bit of a speaking gig, didn't we, Bill? I was talking about toxins in cosmetics, and so all this stuff I have been doing, and Bill has been doing for seems like forever. So it's really nice to reconnect again and to see how your vision and mission has grown over the years, and how you've developed your amazing product. But yeah, just can you just share with everyone how you actually got started on this journey?
Yeah, sure. Good to be with you, Narelle, and hello to everyone else on the call. Basically it started for me in probably about 1999, I guess, or 98 or 99. And I was practicing as a homeopath at the time in Melbourne, having done my training mostly in London. And I discovered the link or looked at the link between firstly looking at what was in cosmetics and some of the nasty things in cosmetics, and was pretty horrified that they were allowed to be used in when my research was showing that they could cause the very problems that I was trying to treat some of my patients with. I found that by removing or having my patients remove some of those nasty chemicals by buying safer products, that quite often their health improved just as a result of that. I then looked into foods as well, because looking at the whole person, holistic view, and was equally horrified that there were things like some of the preservatives and artificial colours in foods that could be causing some pretty nasty effects as well. So I started off, I was going to, I needed something for my patients to be able to take shopping with them, because there's no point in going shopping, then coming home and then discovering through reading stuff that you shouldn't have bought those things in the first place. So it started out as a concertina sort of card, but then grew into a little book form. But it's always needed to be something that people can something that's transportable, that people can carry with them. So hence the size of the shopping companion has always remained essentially the same, although it has got thicker over the years. But there is a limit to how big it can get, obviously. But,
it was how many, 18 months, a couple of years of research into looking into toxic cosmetic ingredients and additives in foods that inspired you to write a little shopping companion that was small enough. And I had the original one, I used to take it around to my, in my little book, take it shopping and look at all the additives and which ones, to avoid. So that was an amazing resource to have. But now you've actually, developed an app, which is even easier now because you can have it on your phone.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, the app's been around now for probably about 4 or 5 years, I guess, and it's available for iPhone and Android through the App Store and Google Play. But the app is, I should explain also that there are 2 books, as you would be aware, Narelle. There's the shopping companion and the bookshelf companion. It's the shopping companion that is created as an app.
Good one, Joanna.
Bookshelf companion is a bigger book, and it's more designed as a reference guide. It's got the same information as the shopping companion, but it's also got a section, excuse me, section on household products, which, as you may be aware or may not, there's no requirement to list the ingredients in household products on labels. So there's no point.
By household products, you mean household cleaning products?
That's right. Yeah. Household as in everything from air fresheners through to window cleaner.
That's right.
And what the commercial brands essentially contain. And in some instances, it's impossible to find out what is in a particular product because of proprietary, it's a secret formula.
Yes.
But, they will contain toxic chemicals, things like toluene and xylene and so forth.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So how did you find out? Because in my research, I find it really difficult to ascertain the ingredients in household cleaning products, especially when they don't list them. Even going into the MSDSs for these products from the companies, they speak in codes and they don't, they give percentage ranges. So yeah, it's kind of got to have a bit of a chemistry background to sort of guess what ingredients they're using, because they're very secretive.
Yeah. And I did a lot of research on this, and I spoke to industrial chemists and looked at, okay, so what are they likely to contain? And essentially, all products are pretty much the same. So you look at the shelf in your supermarket, and there won't be a lot of difference between the chemicals in one and the chemicals in another. They might use different fragrances, but essentially they're using a combination of toxic chemicals. Yeah. Air fresheners, in my mind, are probably one of the worst things that people can use.
Absolutely.
For a number of reasons. For a number of reasons, and I think that these air fresheners that spray every half an hour, they've got to be one of the worst things ever invented, because you can't get away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. It actually blows my mind that people get sucked into these crappy products that are full of neurotoxins and hormone disruptors, that they think spraying a bunch of chemicals in your house makes your air fresher. How does that, it just doesn't make sense that the marketing of these products is so ingrained that, that we have to fear sort of pet smells. It's like, clean your house. Keep your house clean. Don't coat your products, your furniture with toxic chemicals to make it smell like perfume. It's maddening.
Yeah. And as I explain in my book, I give the bad news, but I also give safer alternatives that formulas people can put together to make their own safer things. With air fresheners, open a window. Put flowers in the house. Put potted plants in the house. There's a lot of things you can do apart from just using. Air fresheners really, it's a contradiction in terms.
Yes.
There's nothing to freshen the air, and it goes against what you're actually trying to do. It tricks the senses into thinking that you're in a safer environment.
Yeah. That's awesome information, Bill. On this topic, can you? Okay, so you've said in terms of household that you believe air fresheners are the worst, the most toxic products that you can use in your house, and that should be the number one thing and that includes like the plug-ins, those scented candles, the reeds, those perfumed reeds, any sort of household perfume. In the other two categories, the food category, I know it's a huge topic. Can you maybe your top three or your number one worst thing that you would recommend people avoid at all costs in food. And I mean, if you have any input about cosmetics, happy to hear that as well. But yeah, what's your steer clear from top list?
I guess to start with, you can put them into categories. So you can start with the colours. So a lot of the colours that are used are synthetic colours. Even the natural colours still can't contain synthetic preservatives in them. It's easy enough, you know, if you're making a cake or something and you want to make icing, it's easy enough to use things out of your garden. Or beetroot has been used for a long time. There's carrot. You know, there's so many different things, and it's like if you're making something at home, you don't need a shelf life for it. It's not going to be around in 2 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time or whatever. So, you know, so synthetic colours.
What would be the main? What would be the main issue? What's the main issue with synthetic colours?
Well, there's also, start with tartrazine, which is a yellow colouring. It's one of a number of colours that requires a warning in the EU, in the UK, that it may affect the learning capabilities of children, and that it must be listed on the label with that warning. That's not required here in Australia.
Yeah. And what about the States?
So
I noticed that we have some people on the call from America as well. So can you comment on regulatory requirements over there?
Yeah, well, in America, tartrazine is FD&C yellow 5. You know, and it's also known as 102, or in the EU, E102. But you know, I do sell a few books into the US. In fact, there is my book's been translated into 8 languages other than English, and we've sold something like 250,000 copies worldwide over the 14 years. And there is a US edition of the book. However, I'd recommend that people, if they have a smartphone, buy the app.
Just get the app.
Just get the app, yeah, because the app is much more searchable. You know, in the book you can put in headache. If you've got headaches, you look in the book and you've got to look up everything to find headache. Whereas in the app, you go to symptoms, put in headache, and it'll list everything that may cause headaches or migraines. And then it's just a process of elimination. But just to continue on with your question, preservatives then would be another thing that, you know, you need to be looking at. So 220 sulfur dioxide, sodium benzoate is another particularly nasty one. And see, a lot of these
what are the adverse reactions that people that they may not be aware that these chemicals are causing?
Yeah, well, the sulfites, so sulfur dioxide, asthmatics have to be particularly careful of those. Sodium benzoate is, can cause headaches, can cause migraines, can cause a number of different things. The propionates, the 280s, 280, 281, 282, there's restrictions on those in the EU. And in Australia here, they've just, for SANS, which is the Food Standard Australia New Zealand, the regulator here, has just approved the use of propionate in meat products. So rather than look at the growing amount of information that's coming out of other countries, the dangers of these things, this is pretty much being totally ignored by the regulators in Australia, which is a real concern for us. And it's why, you know, I do what I do. One of the reasons I do that is so that it's about educating people. So, you know, you can fight the regulators, but I'd prefer to put my energy into, information, giving people information, because it will come from the ground floor. That's where the change will come.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I've come from too, Bill. It's like trying to change the government regulation is like it's a long-term project, but the best thing to do is to actually affect grassroots education, so and enable them and empower people with education so they can make quality informed decisions. And I mean,
Yeah,
you're not going to change. You're only going to you're reaching a smaller amount of people because they're the ones that actually are aware and care and are passionate. The people who don't care or don't know will eventually be looked after by changing government regulation, but that may be a decade or two down the track.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we've just
My screen's dropped out, but anyway, I'll
yes,
keep talking if people can still hear me.
yes, we can still
Um,
hear you.
yeah, you can. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll keep talking then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's lost my train of thought now. I'll
Okay.
continue
Can I
on with
just
what
ask
we're
you a
talking
quick
about.
question?
Yeah, sure.
So with the app, that's so. Tell us about the app. Tell us how people can what the functions of the app are. Because I was, would just be thinking, searching on ingredients that I'm coming across in shopping, but you can actually do reverse searching for symptoms.
Yeah, that's right. So if you go into like the front page, the home page, I guess it would be, of the app,
Yeah.
you can search by, one of the ways to search is by diet. Another way is to search is by symptoms.
What do you
You
mean
can,
diet?
so diet, if you put in diet, then it'll bring up like whether you're gluten intolerant. So it'll bring up additives to avoid if you're gluten intolerant. It'll bring up additives to avoid if you're lactose intolerant. Vegan, vegetarian. So it lists additives that may be produced using animal products.
Yeah.
Now, I use the word may because sometimes, like with stearic acid as an example, it can be obtained from plants, but it can be obtained from animals.
Yeah.
And companies are not required to list on the labels the source of where their ingredients have come from, or the derivatives of the products.
Well, and the other issue,
What really?
even if it's vegetarian, even if it's the vegan stearic acid or from palm stearin, that's going to be contributing, if it's not organic, it's going to be contributing to deforestation and orangutan habitat decline. So it's probably.
So you're getting into you're getting into the environmental area there as well.
Yeah.
And I do touch on in potential effects. I touch on in some of the environmental problems associated with some of the additives and ingredients. But okay, so another class of would be the artificial sweeteners. So that would be something else that aspartame, aka NutraSweet, aka amino sweet. It's
So you give all the synonyms as well?
Sorry?
You give all the synonyms that those ingredients?
I do. I give a number of them.
Yeah.
Of course, as you would be aware, it's impossible with especially with cosmetic ingredients, because they can have up to 20 or 30 different names for the one ingredient.
Yeah.
Aspartame's one of the most complained about, if not the most complained about, additive in the USA to the FDA in the USA. But I'm not aware of any country in the world where it's actually banned, which is more about the clout of the company than it is about. There's a raft of information out there.
Yeah.
It gets reviewed every few years by the European Food Safety Authority. But there's a scientist basically who put in a submission in the last review, And
Yep.
he said that all of the information he put in was essentially ignored, and it was new information about aspartame. So really, it shows you, I got a question as to what the regulators are there for. And I tend to think that they're mostly there to look after industry.
Yes. Yeah, the bottom line is that we cannot rely on the regulators and the government and industry to look after our best interests. We have to take matters into our own hands and become educated. And this tool that you've created is an amazing tool to, help people, to empower them, to give them knowledge in the palm of their hand while they're shopping. It's fantastic service.
Yeah, and look, I give people information. I don't tell people what they should or shouldn't do. And here's the information. It's been well researched. I've used material safety data sheets. I've used medical journals. I've used scientific papers in putting all of this information together.
That was my next question, Bill.
Constantly trying to keep up with the changes. Yeah. And, and I guess over the 14 years that the book's been around, I could count on the fingers of one hand the number of negative comments I've had about what I'm doing. And if somebody sends, and I haven't seen anything in the last 10 years at least. Yeah. And, I got the occasional email initially, and it's usually from a company who was trying who whether or not they're trying to do the right thing or not, but they were using ingredients that were a bit suspect.
Yeah.
And they were
trying to justify their position and complain to you and justify their position.
Yeah, and they were querying what I was saying, and I just sent them the information that I had on it, and usually I never heard from them again. Yeah. In fact, I heard one company that actually changed their formulas as a result of the chemical maze, because it had them actually look at what they were doing.
That's awesome. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open it up. Okay, so what else before I open it up? Anything else?
I'll just give you a quick, one of probably the best, I got a lot of emails from people talking about how their children, virtually some of them changed overnight after they removed additives. The kid went from bottom of the class to top of the class within a very short period of time, just by removing certain additives, colours and preservatives from their diet. But probably the best one I ever got was from a guy in Queensland up in Mackay who sent me a long email, and basically he suffered from crippling migraine headaches and had done for years. Medical profession couldn't do anything for him. He finally got onto a sympathetic doctor who said, gave him a copy of the Chemical Maze, said, go through this book because it'll be something in your diet that's causing this. He narrowed it down to sodium benzoate, I spoke about, and MSG, monosodium glutamate 621.
Yeah.
And in the email, he said that he would be suicidal at his worst. And just by eliminating these two additives, his health changed virtually overnight. And he said that the Chemical Maze saved his life, basically.
Wow. That's incredible. That's fantastic. What better feedback. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good when you get that. If I can help, I know I've been able to help a lot of people over the years, but if it was only one person, it would still be worth it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've helped a lot of people, 250,000.
Yeah, well, that's right. Let's hope so.
And their families. So, yeah, more. Because if the mum's buying it, there's the whole family that is now, safer.
Yeah. Look, and I know of parents who have bought the book, and it's actually been their kids that have turned the family's health around.
Yeah.
So the kids have got onto it, and then they've looked at the pantry and said, "Mum, we've got to chuck all this stuff out because it's, this is killing us." And it's one of the things that we don't know. We don't know the chronic long-term effects that these chemicals have on us. There's never been any long-term studies. So, by you constantly using these chemicals day after day after day after day for 20 years, how do you know that that's not causing the cancer or, the illness that you've now got? Because animal studies are very limited. They don't necessarily apply to what happens in people. So I suggest that err on the side of caution and avoid these things, because they're not put in there for consumers. They're put in there for the benefit of the manufacturers.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, really, the bottom line is the ideal scenario is to not purchase any processed foods, not purchase anything that is, comes in a carton. But sometimes, when you've got kids, you just, as a mum of three, I can't possibly make everything, all of their snacks. So, so if you are wanting to purchase processed food, using your app or using your book enables the mum to buy the safest, cleanest, purest processed food possible.
Yeah, that's right. And people initially said to me that, "Oh, it's going to take me longer to do my shopping." And I say, well, yeah, may do the first 2 or 3 times as you start to recognise things. But then it'll speed it up, because there'll be whole aisles that you won't even go down, because that there's only rubbish down there. It only contains these toxic chemicals. I've had people say that to me, that they now do their shopping in half the time they used to.
Exactly. It actually, even though it may take a lot of, as you said, it may take more time initially, it actually simplifies things for them, because they know, okay, well, I can only purchase this, 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 and this. So it's just like, it's a no-brainer. Instead of being tempted by other things, once you've gone through the process of elimination, you can actually say, okay, well, that's good, that's good, that's good, and that's what you stick with. Makes it really simple. I mean, from my perspective as a cosmetic manufacturer, I get visits from suppliers, from cosmetic ingredient suppliers all the time. And I'm like, guys, I'm just going to save your time right now, because I'm only going to buy certified organic stuff. So they go, wow, that makes it really, really narrow. I'm like, yeah, it makes it really simple, actually. It really simplifies it down.
That's right, yeah. And as you would see yourself, people's health improves over time, and even people who don't even think that they have a problem, that they're sick. We're like the old the adage of the frog in the water. You heat it very slowly, and the frog will die. Well, we're like that. We're living in a chemical soup.
Yeah,
And you've only got to look at the statistics of the increases in cancer. Look at Australia wanting to increase the GST just to cover the costs of medical, exponential increases in medical. For God's sake, look at people's diet. Rather than putting Band-Aids on the thing, look at what people are putting on their skin and in their mouth. You're going to make a huge change. That's it. The cloud of industry that keeps the status quo.
Yeah, unfortunately, the chemical food industrial complex is way too powerful.
Yep. So that's why I continue to, do these webinars, talk to people, continue to put out my book and my apps, because, hopefully, eventually, there will be a groundswell of people who will, make the change by moving the dollars.
Yes, exactly. And that's what Sherry just said. That's why we have to vote with our dollars. Voting with our dollars, supporting the companies that are in integrity, providing quality products. And your book and app are helping consumers identify those companies that are doing the right thing.
Yeah. Now, did you want to mention about the other 3 apps that I've got?
Yes, but there's more than 10 people on the call, so I'm thinking we should have some kind of question or competition or something, because otherwise it's going to be a mad race. If people, I don't want to, someone's going to miss out. So can you think of, okay, so the deal is that Bill has very kindly offered us 10 free iPhone apps. So if you do need an iPhone, this is not for Android. So if you have an iPhone and you want Bill's app, what's it currently being sold for? It's about $7, isn't it?
It varies with the US dollar. It's currently about $9.
$9? Okay. Oh yeah, because you've got to charge US dollar.
Yeah, it's hinged off the US dollars. As the Australian drops against the US, the cost of our app goes up. So.
Yeah. Okay,
so I've got 10. I've got 10 of them. So people, I don't know. You think of a question that
maybe in the email that I send out.
Maybe it's something.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, let's do that. I'll think of a cool question or a cool something when we send the email out.
And you and I can randomly draw 10 people.
Yes. Oh well, no.
Okay. Now I've got to
go on.
I've got to stress that it does have an expiry date, which is Australian time. It's the 19th of August.
Oh, that's
but look,
fine.
it only takes seconds to redeem it.
No problem. We'll do our competition and it'll expire this Sunday.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then I'll be in touch with you as to who the winners are and all the contacts and so forth. So look, I could go on chatting here for days, but I know you don't have the time. But it's been really interesting, really good to be able to talk with everybody and you too, Narelle, and great to see you again.
Can we just open up the call to questions if people want to ask questions? All right, now just
sure.
Sarah, are you able to do that? Unmute everyone.
Yep, I'm just going to go through and unmute everybody.
All right, folks.
So everyone's going to speak at once.
I don't know. We'll just see how we go. So if anyone has a question for Bill, fire away. Who's got the chemical maze? Just show of hands. Yay. Oh, nice one. Yeah, well, that's pretty good.
That looked like a third edition somebody held up there.
Right.
Yeah, that's the second or third edition. That's the current edition.
From Diana?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The current one is the 10th anniversary. Effectively, the 5th edition is the current edition.
Nice one. Well, doesn't look like we.
And if anybody wants to buy a copy or for a friend, or we've got free postage on the website at the moment, so you can buy from our website www.thechemicalmaze.com. So
that was www.thechemicalmaze.com.
www.chemicalmaze.com.
Oh, just Chemical Maze.
Just chemicalmaze.com.
Yep.
Chemicalmaze.com. Yep.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, both the books are free of postage at the moment. So they're the same cost as what you would buy them if you went to a bookshop or bookstore. So anybody got a question?
Well, it doesn't seem like anyone has a question.
Can I hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I don't have a question, Bill, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart and heartfelt thank you. I'm one of the people that you have changed the life for the better, because I've been using your books as my holy grail reference guide for the last 5 years now. And so thank you very much.
Sorry, I couldn't see who was speaking then.
It's Sherry. I haven't got my camera on because I'm still in my pajamas.
Oh, right, okay, we'll forgive you for that.
So yeah, no camera, but yeah, really seriously, your books are fantastic and they're so easy to use, and I recommend them to everybody.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. That's great. And if anybody has got the app or is thinking of purchasing the app, it would be really great if you could actually go back to where you say Google Play or the App Store and give us a rating on there. I'm not going to tell you how to rate it, but I'd be much appreciated if you would give us a good rating. So, and that helps. That obviously helps with other people who go there, and they're more likely to purchase a product that's got a good rating. So,
yeah, okay. I've just thought of the competition question. So let's just open it up to everyone on the call now, because you guys made the effort to be on the call live, so you guys should get first dibs. And then we'll send out the email. So the question is, how would you benefit? Why would you benefit the most from having the Chemical Maze app? How would you put it to the best use? Why should it go to you?
yeah, why should you get a copy and not nobody else?
I know, it's terrible. Oh, because we only have 10 to give away. So you can be as creative or funny or crazy or whatever as you want.
And so Narelle, you'll pick the best, or
yes, and we'll send you the list. We'll send, or how we do it. We'll just send you what's the best way of doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, if they send their answers into you, and then you select the best 10. Yeah, and you're going to have the contact details, the email address, those people, and then I'll supply the code to get together with how to redeem it when the team decisions. So yeah,
sounds good. All right, so that your answer should go to marketing@miessence.com, the usual suspect email, marketing@miessence.com. Why you would benefit? How are you going to benefit from having the Chemical Maze app?
How you're going to change the world using the Chemical Maze app.
That's right. Exactly. That's what we want. That's what we want. People changing the world and providing them the tools and the education to go out and do that.
Yep. Cool.
Well, it's been awesome, Bill. Really, really lovely to reconnect, and great information as always. If anyone has any other questions, speak now, or we're going to close up the... Yes, there is a question.
Hi. Yes, hi. Hi, Bill. Have you tried to access the school? Hi. Because so much, the school where my girls go, there is a lot of products that shouldn't be there being sold. Have you tried to approach the Department of Education in some way, or it worries me a lot, those canteens at the schools?
Yeah, look, canteens are a difficult one. Usually because they're run by the school, the Parents Association or the like, and they're run for a profit. They're run to profit. They're not necessarily run in order to give kids the best and the safest and even the most nutritious foods. Just if you can bear with me for a minute, I'll tell you a little story about, it's back about 7 or 8, no, it might even be 9 years ago. I did a talk in Melbourne to a group of people, and after the talk, somebody came up to me and said that their son had got the book, had got the Chemical Maze and had gone through it, and then gone to the principal of the school and said basically very bluntly, why are you trying to poison us with the food you're putting in the canteen? And of course the principal was taken aback a bit, but you know, being somebody who obviously was a good principal, said, well, you know, what's your evidence for that? And then we showed the chemical maze, and then the principal then said, well, why don't you get together with a group of you and you decide what we should be putting in the canteen. Well, to cut a long story short, basically that's how they changed the canteen. So they started to put in organic fruits and vegetables and produce, and they got rid of the chips and all of the additive-laden things. So that's just the one approach you can take.
Okay.
Quite usually you need a sympathetic principal or a sympathetic person in the school, someone who's got a little bit of education in this area, in the area of additives and the effects that they can cause. Apart from that, I mean, I've known other people to try, and it's been really difficult. So, but look, you do the best that you can, and you know, so maybe you can approach it in a similar way to that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's ever going to change the world, Bill. People with passion and purpose.
Yeah, that's right. And just keep trying different approaches, and eventually you'll find something that'll work.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for being on the call. Really appreciate you being here, and lovely to see all your faces. And would have liked to see in your pajamas, Sherry, but oh well, that's okay.
You're better off missing that. I started work early. So
yeah.
We'll forgive you.
I think there was a comment from Organic Tree. Is the app by Gridstone Proprietary Limited?
It is. It's used by Gridstone, originally Naturally Being.
Yep. Okay. I think I'm just scrolling through the questions. I think that's it. Yeah. All right.
And look, the questions are not limited to this session here either. If anybody has got a question, they can send us an email, team@chemicalmaze.com. That's available through our website. Our website, as I mentioned before, is chemicalmaze.com. So if you've got a question and you didn't want to ask it here, or you think of a question later on, you can always send us an email. So team@chemicalmaze.com, and just address it to Bill.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you for your time, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and thanks everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.